Hi everyone, it's Louisa here. I want to talk about the difference between literary memoir or memoir by unknowns and celebrity memoir, because I think this is one of the most widely misunderstood aspects of memoir that I come up against again and again and again. People always ask me, why was your memoir published? What did you do? As if I must have discover the cure for cancer or something to get a book published, to get a memoir published. And there's just so many misconceptions about celebrity memoir versus I'm going to call it literary memoir, even though it can just be memoir. Why does my cat always have to be part of these videos? This is going to continue. Okay, well, I'm not going to stop. I'll just keep going. Done is better than perfect. I always tell people when writing the first draft. Okay, so back to memoir. Literary memoir versus celebrity memoir. Okay, I can't handle this. I'm going to have to let her get in that box. Okay, I pulled the box out so she can get in. Okay, literary memoir versus celebrity memoir. Now, I'm going to call it literary memoir, even though it could be commercial memoir. It could be a memoir that's published commercially by HarperCollins or one of the big fives. So the difference between celebrity memoir and literary memoir. I've just been reading, I'm always reading 4 or 5 books at the same time, and they're always generally nonfiction. I don't really read much fiction. And one of them is a celebrity memoir for the purposes of this video. It's Nakamura's My Life, Wicked but Virtuous. And I was reading it yesterday, dipping in and out of various chapters. And what she can do, being a celebrity, well, at least in Australia she is. You may not have heard of her. She's an artist. She was an artist. And she relocated to Australia from Paris after World War II. So the thing with celebrity memoir is the fact that they are, the fact of who they are is the hook with the book. So this is how they're generally commissioned to write the book. This is generally how they come to have a published book, is because they are a celebrity, they're well known, and publishers see a willing and captive market for their story. Now, celebrity memoir can get away with being really, really rambly and go off in so many different tangents, whereas literary memoir cannot. So, for example, I was reading Nakamura's memoir yesterday, and she goes from talking about her relationships and her love life to a little bit about the war and her art, and she also can take it from childhood to adulthood. The thing with celebrity memoir is it's often autobiography, so it's the complete chapter by chapter chronicle of their life from birth to a certain age. And this is why some celebrities have 2 or 3 memoirs. I think it was Barry Humphries who did he write 2 or 3? I can't remember how many memoirs he wrote, but they covered different sections of his life and age. So celebrity memoir can get away with being autobiography, and it's also often very, very, covers a wide cross-section of topics, themes, and experiences in their life. The reason for this is because the hook, and the reason we keep reading, is because they are interesting, we know them, who they have become is interesting, widely known, and appeals to us because they're in the public eye, obviously. It's interesting enough, who they are is interesting enough already, that we don't need to, be hooked by something extra to keep reading. So I already knew who Nakamura was. I knew her art. I met her a couple of times, and I knew a little bit about the fact that she had lived through World War II, and I wanted to know more about it. So this is why celebrity memoir is generally commissioned. There's a captive market there. There's an audience through their work, whether it be acting or writing or politics or sport. And this is how and why celebrity memoir sells. Yes, they talk about their life, their experiences, their their journey. But it doesn't need to work as hard as literary memoir that's written by someone like you or I, who is not famous or a well-known figure. So to literary memoir, and I'm going to say literary memoir even if it's not a particularly literary subject, even if it's written at a very commercial level. So the best way to describe the difference is to look at a couple next to me, and I've got Made here by Stephanie Land, which was a bestseller, and also a Netflix series, Paris Match, which I found in a funny little bookstore in Melbourne, which is, I'm not too sure how well it sold, probably not that well because I think that bookstore only sells remaindered books, which is a bit depressing, but anyway, I love the book. And Fake by Stephanie Land. So these are all memoirs written by non-celebrities. And what they have in common is a very strong and compelling and relatable and also universal story. So the author has done the work to find what is most interesting, captivating, relatable, unique at the same time, and compelling about their story. And they have followed that through in a very clear through line to the end. So it's very easy to see. The thing is, you don't know their name. When you would see it in a bookstore or online, you wouldn't really know, you wouldn't be looking for someone's name because you don't know them. But the story will come up, the audience is there because of the topics and themes that they're writing about. So for example, Made by Stephanie Land, very compelling, very relatable, very unique aspect to a very, very common story. So, and that is the hook. And that is why you really need to identify the hook if you're not a celebrity and you're trying to write a memoir that sells, because the hook is what is going to captivate the widest number of readers to your story, and it's also going to place your story in a particular market. It's also going to, people will be able to recognize themselves in the story because they'll see what themes it deals with, but also the unique way that you dealt with that particular theme. There's just so many reasons why you need to find the hook if you are trying to write a memoir that you want to sell in the traditional book publishing market, because if you're not a celebrity, the hook is what's going to sell your book. And the hook is how your story will be known. The hook is really how people will describe the story to their friends. They'll say, I'm reading this incredible book. It's about blah, blah, blah. And they'll say something that happened. It's generally in the beginning of the story. And then that compelled you to go on the journey or do the rest of the things that you describe in the book. Now, Paris Match, I want to talk about this because this isn't a clear, it's not a, I don't think it was a bestseller, but it's a great memoir. It's a travel memoir, I guess you'd say. He's an American, he marries a French woman and moves to France. And it's humorous, it's a comic memoir. And each chapter is almost like it could be an essay on its own, describing situations and, unique cultural contrasts where his Americanness comes into contact with Frenchness and with often comic results. So there isn't a clear, compelling, as in here's the problem and here's how I'm going to resolve it or deal with it. But it is, I can still see the hero's journey quest in there. He's a reluctant hero. He's the awkward hero. He is the failed hero because he just keeps getting it wrong. And that's what makes it so funny. And it also shows you how you can actually see the hero's journey played out in so many different memoir structures. I'll also mention Stephanie Wood's Fake. Okay, so this is a memoir of her year, I think it was a year, spent in a relationship with a man who was, what's it called when you pretend to be someone that you're not? He lied about who he was. And she met him online. And it's a very, very relatable topic and theme because it's about internet dating and how, you know, you can't really know who someone is if you've met them on the internet, because you know, it explores that difficulty in background and context when you've only met someone online. So the reason I wanted to mention this one, because it's not a celebrity memoir, is because it's really clear what the journey is that you're going to read about in that memoir. So I imagine that you're watching this video if you're working on a memoir and you want to get it traditionally published, or you're thinking about something that you've experienced and you're thinking, can I sell this to a traditional publisher? Well, you know, I'm sure, and I know that many women have had, you know, bad experiences with online dating, but Stephanie Wood explores this in a book-length narrative where she doesn't include all the other irrelevant stuff. Now, I think this is one of the most important things about writing a compelling book-length memoir that you want to sell to the traditional book publishing market, is knowing what to leave out. So knowing what the story is and not going off on wild tangents, explaining, you know, where you went to primary school and where you grew up and blah, 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 blah. So having that focus, knowing what the story is that you are writing and what is most compelling about it, and then seeing that through from start to finish, a compelling and interesting, and a beginning that hooks the reader, a middle of the narrative which also, you know, moves the pace around a little bit to keep people reading. This is why they say memoir needs to be structured like fiction. The cat. All right. And then an ending that is satisfying to the reader. It doesn't have to end in happiness, sunshine, and joy, but there needs to be a difference in the end. There needs to be a resolution, a change, a transformation, or that the reader just won't feel satisfied making it to the end of your book. So these are just a few things that are the difference between celebrity and regular or literary memoir, and why and how the two specific categories of memoir sell in the traditional book publishing market. If you would like to know more, I have a free training which goes into the 5 principles of the actual story structure, so that you can actually map out the draft properly. Because if you don't know about your hook, your focus sentence, your basic premise, and how you're going to structure it, then you'll be writing for months and years, and you'll probably have to throw out most of what you write, or you will never sell it. So the most important thing is to know where the story begins. And now that the cat's left the room, I've finished the video.